In this video, I'm going to give you a whole load of ideas about how to manage your time effectively and efficiently. I want to start with 5 key principles for time management. The first of them is prioritization. Always know what matters most and prioritize those things, which doesn't necessarily mean do them first, but it does mean make sure that you set aside time to do them properly. Second is planning. Make sure you organize and structure your tasks to do them in an efficient and effective way. Build yourself a workflow that works for you. A little bit of preparation and planning can save you a lot of time. Third is delegation. You can save yourself a lot of time by getting other people to do parts of your work. When you get good at delegation, you can become efficient at briefing them and at supporting them, and therefore they will take on tasks that free you up to do other tasks that only you can do. Fourth is focus. Working on multiple tasks at the same time just is not efficient or effective. When you focus on one task and give it all of your attention, that way you will get the best out of that task and the best out of the time that you allocate to it. And the final principle is organization. Set up simple systems that just work for you. Systems that mean you don't have to think about certain things that come up time and time again. When you need something, you know where it is. When you need to do something, you know the best way to do it. Setting goals and priorities is a key part of effective time management. Defining goals is about knowing what is important and what matters most. Important is defined in terms of being able to support what you most want to achieve. However, prioritization needs to take into account both importance in terms of what really matters and urgency, the time factor. And a very popular tool that is used in time management is the Eisenhower matrix, the matrix of urgency and importance. Clearly, your top priority tasks are those that are both urgent and important. Yet, the most efficient and effective time management comes when you can spend most of your time doing things that are important but not urgent. That is, doing things that are important before they become urgent. Things that are not important should occupy a very small part of your time. If they're not important and urgent, then I would argue just get them done as quickly as possible to the minimum standard that you can possibly get away with. Frankly, if they're not important and they're not urgent, then just don't do them at all. So, focus on high-impact activities, those things that make the biggest difference to the things that matter to you. Planning and scheduling is another critically important time management process. I think it is well worth considering daily plans, weekly plans, monthly plans, and quarterly plans. Although, start small. Start by getting in the habit of planning what you are going to do tomorrow at the end of each day. Think about what is important, what is urgent, what are your priorities, and how much time to allocate them. You may have fixed components of your day, so schedule the important things around them. Putting the most important, most valuable, most demanding tasks at the best times of the day for you, when you have the highest levels of attention and enthusiasm and are likely to be able to work uninterrupted. Once you get into the habit of building daily plans, then at the end of each week, think about the week ahead and sketch out where you're going to do the important things in the next week. And once you're good at building weekly plans, then build monthly plans so that each week fits into a context and you know what you're going to be doing a few weeks ahead. I now also build quarterly plans. In fact, actually, I build 4 monthly plans so that I do it 3 times a year. And in those, I simply think about what are the key things I want to achieve in those quarters or in those 4 months, and how I'm going to allocate those priorities to each month. Then at the start of each month, I can take a look at that, can take a look at what's on my agenda, what's in my diary, and build a monthly plan as an outline. At the end of each week, I can look at what's coming up in my monthly plan, what's in my diary, and build a weekly plan that outlines the things I want to achieve in each day. And then at the end of each day, I can look at what I need to achieve tomorrow and start to schedule it properly. An important aspect of this is taking big tasks and breaking them down into small blocks or chunks, because huge tasks are not motivating, they're intimidating. If you break tasks down into smaller chunks, you can allocate those and schedule them into each part of your day. Different people break their day up into different chunks. Some will just simply divide it into morning and afternoon. Some might have it the first part of the morning and the second part of the morning, first part of the afternoon and the second part of the afternoon. It doesn't matter what works for you. What matters is that you know what works for you, and that's how you do it. Then allocate those work chunks into those days and schedule it in your diary. That way, it makes it easier to protect that work time against intrusions and distractions. There are loads and loads of simple time management tools and ideas that people use, and perhaps the most common is the to-do list. I do not use a to-do list necessarily as a list of things that I am going to do. I use a to-do list as a way of capturing the things I could do, a could-do list. And then each day I draw down from my could-do list a subset of those things which I plan to do on the next day, a will-do list. A simple to-do list can leave you as a hostage to all those tasks. A could-do list is a pick list of options, and a will-do list is a narrow, constrained list of things you know you can achieve in the time available. Another rule that I like and use is the 2-minute rule. This is the idea that if you have a task that comes across your desk, comes into your inbox, and you look at it and you know you can do it in 2 minutes or less, then don't put it off. Just do it now. Because if you put it off to another time, you've got to reread that message or re-engage with it, which takes time that you've already just spent before you do those 2 minutes of activity. That said, where I can, I batch similar tasks. So combining the 2-minute rule and the batching rule, I tend to look at my email only 2 or 3 times a day and work through it there and then. If you pick up every email as it comes in, it just becomes a distraction from getting on with the really important work that takes a lot of mental discipline. I also quite like the Pomodoro technique, although I don't use it in its natural form, but the idea of allowing yourself 20 or 25-minute chunks of work when we can concentrate for an extended period, but not much more than 20 to 25 minutes, is a good one. The idea that we set ourselves a task, we work on it for a period of time, and then we take a break. If you need the discipline of a timer with an alarm, then I suggest you go for 20 minutes of hard work, then 5-minute short break, and then another 20 minutes, and then a slightly longer break. Make sure you have water at hand where you're working, unless you're working in an environment where that's inappropriate, so that you can take sips constantly and keep your brain hydrated. That enhances your concentration. Some people think that multitasking is a great way to get a lot done. It is not, however. Multitasking is a great way to waste time, to make mistakes, and to miss things. Monotasking, or serial monotasking, doing one thing at a time and then putting it down and doing another, is far more effective and efficient. But multitasking just does not work. Another time management problem that many people face is procrastination, putting off the things they just don't fancy doing. Now, sometimes that can actually be a good thing. There are some things we're not sure whether it's valuable enough, and by putting it off, we leave it till a time when we can better evaluate the value of doing it. But sometimes we know something is valuable, we just don't want to do it. And my tips for these are, firstly, to do the most unpleasant thing as early in the day as possible, while you're fresh and you have plenty of willpower, but also to promise yourself a reward for doing it. Secondly, if you've got something that you're not looking forward to doing, then break it into small steps and just do the first step, the baby step that will give you a little bit of momentum to take the next step and the next step. And finally, for this video, my last tip on managing procrastination is to set yourself short deadlines. Set yourself a deadline and tell people about it. That way you commit yourself to something. Because, let's face it, most of us are motivated by fear of failure. And if we've advertised a short deadline, then we just need to knuckle down and get on with it. Otherwise, we have to admit that we've failed to all the people that we've told about that deadline. Now, there's lots of software, tools and technology that we can use to help us with our time management, and the most obvious of them are task management tools. These range from simple to-do apps to far more sophisticated things like Kanban boards. You'll find these tools available on your phone, your tablet, your laptop or computer, and often you'll be able to find the same tool will carry the same information across all of your own ecosystem. Again, it's not about choosing the very best tool, it's about finding a tool that works for you and is comfortable. More functionality is great, but ease of use is what you really want to focus on. If you can find a tool that really delights you, that's the tool you should be using. And don't overlook the value of the calendar apps on all of your devices as well. These can be very important. But increasingly, we're seeing multiple automation tools. Tools that enable you to click a button on your phone, your tablet, or your computer, and it works its way through a whole series of tasks. There are even automation apps that take things like incoming emails and deal with them for you. And as AI continues to improve, we will see more and more of these automations, and these automations will become more and more capable of doing complex things for us. All of what I've talked about so far are point interventions to improve our performance in time management. However, what will really transform things is turning all of those into habits. Where you can, establish routines, consistent daily and weekly habits. That means that you can go from thing A to thing B to thing C in a way that is predictable and easy to follow. The more you have routines to follow, the less cognitive demand will be placed on deciding what's next, and the more you can focus on getting things done. However, you need to regularly assess those routines, to review them, to see how they are working and how you can improve them. An attitude of continuous improvements of your habits and routines will mean you will get better and better at time management and productivity. In amongst all of this, however, you must maintain an appropriate work-life balance. Now, what is appropriate may change from one period of your life to another, or even from one week to the next. However, whatever is an appropriate balance for you between your work obligations and your social, private and family obligations, make sure you prioritize maintaining that balance. If not on a day-to-day basis, certainly on a week-by-week basis. To help you with that, there is one last thing that can help you more than anything else with your productivity, your efficiency, stress management, and your management of your time. And this is the ability to say no. But not just to say no because you don't want to do something in a rude and petulant way. No, to transform the word no into the acronym NO, a noble objection. A noble objection is when you decline to do something for the right reasons. Reasons that are about a proper understanding of priorities, about what's important. A strategy. To be a noble objection, saying no has to be motivated by good intent. But it must also be mediated by a respectful and courteous tone. That is to say, when you say no, do so in a loving and respectful way. And I would add to that, never a naked no. If people don't understand the reason why you are doing something, then they will reject it, and they may reject you too. So, never a naked no. Always explain the reasons why you're saying no. And if you can, offer some suggestions that may help the other person get what they need. When all other time management methods fail, the ability to say no and focus on the things that matter most is the ultimate approach to effective and efficient use of your time. Please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it or learned from it. I'll be making loads more great management courses videos for you. So please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of them. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And in the meantime, keep learning.